What's up everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Ryan Becker, and every week I drop a new video where I talk about absurd issues in religion, culture, and society. This week's absurdity is Black Lives Matter evil? If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video to help it reach more people. In short, I do not believe that the Black Lives Matter organization nor the grassroots movement are evil. And let me walk through why. The Black Lives Matter movement is broken up into two main parts. You have the official Black Lives Matter organization, which started back in 2013, and then you have the movement of Black Lives Matter, which is mainly made up of people sharing the hashtag on social media or talking about it with their friends. While the Black Lives Matter organization always aligns itself with the general movement, those participating in the movement aren't always aligning themselves with the organization. In fact, I would submit that many of those posting the hashtag on their social media don't even know that there is an official Black Lives Matter organization, let alone throw all their weight behind it. They are simply sharing it because they really do believe in the message that Black Lives Matter. The organization's mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. It is led by two co-founders who identify as Marxists through their training, and many of their positions are those that the religious right or traditionally conservative side of politics and religion would disagree with. So I think a good place to start is with the claims that the organization has stances that conservatives disagree with and religious conservatives are outright opposed to. Of note, these are the organization's affirming views on LGBTQ+ individuals, their intent to disrupt the traditional expression of the nuclear family, and because, by focusing on the Black community, people genuinely believe that Black Lives Matter is an inherently racist organization. While I'm not going to defend Black Lives Matter point by point, as even I don't agree with everything that it does, there is one point that I hear Christians criticize that really annoys me: the disruption of the nuclear family. Black Lives Matter's official position is thus: we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Many Christians believe that this is evil and dangerous because it disrupts what they believe is God's intended picture of what a family should look like. But to do so while attending any church, especially one with any sort of youth programming, is inherently hypocritical. I don't know if you've ever seen a baby dedication done, or really any dedication over a family ever, but when families raise their children as a part of a church community, they are disrupting the nuclear family by inviting support from their village to collectively care for and raise their children to the degree that the parents are comfortable with. So on this point, if you're a Christian and opposed to Black Lives Matter over this point, then you've got some serious reflection to do. Because of the increased polarization taking place online, everything is shifting toward an all-or-nothing mentality. This mentality says that you cannot be a part of a group or support what someone is doing unless you agree with everything they do. If you can find one or two minor points that you are opposed to that a group holds, then you feel you cannot support the group as a whole. Remember when Romney became the first congressman in history to vote against his own party's president in an impeachment trial? Trump and other GOP members tried to shun him from the group, saying he isn't a Republican anymore. He broke rank on one item, albeit a pretty big one, and the group wanted to cast him out. This idea of all or nothing groupthink is encouraged both from the group and from individuals within the group. This model of group association is demonstrably false and ineffective. Most people already belong to religious groups, friend groups, or political parties that they have some minor disagreements with, but they are still willing to identify within these groups, often even supporting what happens in the group or what the group does. In fact, many of those I've seen criticize the Black Lives Matter organization are people who are writing off part of Trump's more controversial history in order to support him because they believe that Trump is overall good. The rank hypocrisy in saying you cannot support any group that maintains any values or platforms that you disagree with is incredibly frustrating because it demonstrates that people don't actually care about the values they disagree with. They are just grasping at straws in order to justify hating a group they likely already hated before becoming aware of any of those values. It's confirmation bias 101. In order to justify their pre-existing discomfort with the organization, they cherry-pick a few things they disagree with so they can discredit the entire thing. This is a problem that's greater than just the Black Lives Matter movement. but it's happening in multiple areas of life and culture, from politics to religion and everything in between. The solution is pretty straightforward. We need to reintroduce and advocate for nuanced association. Yes, absolutely, we should have deal breakers that cause us to refuse alignment with certain groups or individuals, and that's perfectly fine. But there is a difference between having a deal breaker and digging for criticisms. We need nuance in order to function in a healthy way. Without it, we just get cancel culture, which, to clarify, cancel culture isn't rightfully holding leaders and role models accountable when they have done reprehensible things. Cancel culture is seeking to unjustly ruin people's reputations and livelihoods with no actual evidence of wrongdoing, or as a punishment that doesn't fit whatever they have done wrong. Saying, "I support Black lives, but not Black Lives Matter," may be technically true, but a refusal to even say the phrase for fear of group association or condoning things that you disagree with is telling Black people that you support them, but your way of supporting them is better than the way they are asking you to. It's okay to say Black Lives Matter. Karl Marx isn't going to hand-deliver a medal to your door, and you won't win communism for saying it. I promise. You can still be a capitalist American and say, believe, and act like Black Lives Matter. Have you ever asked someone for support or help, and they've come in and just taken over the whole thing? They've tried to tell you what to do and how to do it without ever really listening to you or valuing your input? That's what saying all lives matter is. All the Black community is asking for is for people to see that they matter and to help fix the racist problems in institutions, policies, and people that treat them as if they don't. Instead of saying, "I hear you," you're saying, "I know better than you, so be quiet." There is great irony in telling someone that is complaining about racism that you know better than them and they don't know what they're talking about, but you do. Those people are saying Black Lives Matter on social media or in your daily conversations aren't saying it because they want to devalue other lives or because other lives don't matter. They're saying it because for centuries, no one was. They're saying it because they also need to hear others say it too. What's even worse is refusing to support an entire group of people because of your hatred, disgust, or disagreement with another group of people. I have no problem saying how outrageous it is to take the stance that you refuse to say Black Lives Matter because the organization affirms LGBTQ+ people. It's literally refusing to support the Black community because you have problems with the LGBTQ+ community. That's like refusing to buy a Honda because you hate Ford. It doesn't even remotely make sense, nor is it any sort of consistent ethic. On this point, I would submit that the presence of so many people who write off these groups is why we need groups like Black Lives Matter to begin with. Clearly, these individuals are not looking out for anyone in those categories. So at least there are some groups out there that are working to support marginalized people without any additional discrimination. And yes, if you're a conservative or traditionalist Christian that is not affirming of LGBTQ+ people or other beliefs, let me say that you can indeed maintain your belief system while still affirming that Black Lives Matter. It's okay to use nuance as you look to support a marginalized group. We can address the other stuff another time. If you don't want to support and uplift Black lives and help the Black community as they overcome the systems that were put in place decades ago to keep them held down, that's fine. Just be honest about it. Because the lies aren't fooling anyone, and at least we'll all be on the same page about where you stand. So is Black Lives Matter evil? No. But if there is any evil here, it is hatred, bigotry, and arrogance disguised as ethical concerns about an organization. Black Lives Matter as a movement and as an organization isn't perfect, but we can't fall into the trap of letting perfect be the enemy of good or better. Believing that we cannot begin to solve these problems without first having a perfect solution in place is just an excuse to keep marginalized groups oppressed while those in power do nothing about it. We can do better and we can be better than that. We can make room for nuance in this conversation the same way we make room for nuance in literally every other part of our lives. But our willingness to embrace nuance is equal to how much we are willing to care. In my experience, unfortunately, the less nuanced someone is willing to be about a topic, the less they seem to genuinely care for the people on the other side. So embrace nuance, and in doing so, embrace the community on the other side that is crying out for justice, equality, and action. If you liked this video, leave a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and share this video with a friend. And if you want to interact with some of the other content I do, such as podcasts, then check the links in the description for links to the Absurd Podcast Network, Absurdity, and A Beautiful Faith. As always, I'll leave you with a reason to smile no matter what kind of day you're having. So enjoy some B-roll of my freshly groomed corgi Sugar, who currently looks like a loaf of bread with the crust cut off. Thanks for watching.